Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Fariha. My husband and I are full-time physicians and we live here in Chicago. We have two children, Zaid and Zainab, and we're about to go on a massive adventure. I quit my job as a physician, we sold our home, we sold 80% of our belongings, and now we are traveling across the country in an RV to go have this massive adventure with our children. I seriously can't believe this is happening. I cannot believe this is happening. We traded our 5,000 square foot home for an RV less than 500 square feet. I thought it would be super fun to share this adventure with all of you. And I know some of you might not believe it unless you see it. So I really hope that this little project of ours can inspire you, even if it is to just get in your backyard and spend time with your children. I hope that this can educate you about all the different possibilities and, really motivate you to make those positive changes in your life that you've been wanting to make and are just caught up in life, too afraid, maybe waiting for the right moment. I want to tell you today is that moment. And I'm so excited to have you guys part of this journey this year. Like so many of you guys, we've spent so much time outdoors, and my family and I just fell in love. It all started when our friend Mohsen and Maruk invited us on a hiking trip to Tennessee. We went and stayed in this cabin in the Smoky Mountains, and I'm gonna get so emotional. But just being out in nature, spending time out there in God's creation, it has such an impact on your heart. It had such an impact on my family, on my children, on myself, on my husband. I personally felt like when I was out there in the woods, in the jungles, in the forest, on the trails, I felt the nearest and closest to God. I felt the closest to my children and to my spouse. And as we kept doing more hiking adventures, we just felt like this is where we want to be. We want to slow down time. We want to experience this with our children on a day-to-day basis and not just wait for the epic vacation, the epic adventure. We want our life to be focused on this. We want to change our priorities. It also felt like I was the best mom and the best parent when I could slow down life. When I was out of my home, I didn't have as much stuff. I didn't have as much chores and schedules and routines that I could really focus on the daily, everyday task with my children. It wasn't so much about rushing out the door as it was about just spending that everyday moment with them, doing small little tasks, just even if it's taking a walk outside or throwing a couple of rocks in the water. Everything just became this beautiful experience. It literally felt like we slowed down time. Husband and I, we want to take a drastic measure that was focused ultimately on family, on reconnecting with our children, reconnecting with nature, and reconnecting with God. And we really just wanted to slow down time. What is our greatest regret going to be when we're older, when our children are older? Our greatest regret is going to be, I wish we spent more time with them. And I don't know about you guys, but I've had plenty of those regrets already. You see, I spent majority of my son's life, I was in residency training. And as happy as I am to become a physician, I spent a good chunk of his toddler years at the hospital taking care of other people. As I was working 16 to 28 hour shifts, there was somebody else raising my child at home. Through this time, I realized there's no amount of money, there's no amount of following my passions if I don't have a connected relationship with my husband and my children. If we have a whole stack of money, is never going to replace those moments, those everyday moments my children will experience with me. When I would go to work, I would come home and I would be just exhausted. I would spend time with my children, but my body would be elsewhere. My mind wouldn't be present. I was just waiting for that moment to finish so that bedtime could roll around, so that I could just finally relax. So even though as an attending, my life was a lot more flexible, I was working as a hospitalist 7 days working and 7 days off, there was a lot of flexibility in my schedule. It still didn't give me that complete wholeness that I wanted to feel as a mother. I just felt like I was rushing from one thing to the other. I was rushing to get to work. I was rushing to get out of work. I was rushing to come home. I was rushing to finish reading that book. I was rushing to finish playing with those Legos. I was rushing to get that nighttime routine done. I was just rushing. And just like that, my son is 5 years old. I won't say I lost those 5 years, because we did have some amazing memories, but I felt like I was just letting life guide me, lead me, versus me taking charge of my own life and letting myself make conscious decisions. I feel like when you make a conscious decision about your life, the result is different than when you are just completely unaware, when you're not awake to the beat of your own heart. And that's exactly how I felt. And I'm really hoping that with us being able to reconnect, that I'm able to bring this joy to my children's childhood, and I'm able to experience that joy, and not out of exhaustion, and not out of fatigue, and not out of, oh my gosh, let's just get this done with so that I can go to bed. I live a life with less stuff and more journey. We want our days to be slow. We want them to be filled with moments and not pressure and rushing. The more we can let go of things, the easier our life becomes. Let go of those physical possessions. Let go of all the keeping up with the Jones, the shopping, the clothes, the house decor, the cars, the bags. Let go of those toxic relationships. Let go of that guilt. Let go of those regrets. Live the life that you want to live, but live it for yourself. Don't live it so that you can fulfill this role that you're supposed to fulfill. Live it because it brings you true joy. Live it because that is your purpose. To slow down time and enjoy each moment as it is. As much as I would have liked to do this while we were at home, the truth is that life gets in the way. Social obligations get in the way. Friends, family get in the way. All the stuff that we have at our house gets in the way. There was no other way to do this than to completely reboot and restart our system. Really unplug ourselves and start all over again. Change what our standard of living is, what it means for us to have things that we absolutely need. And for us to do that, we had to go back to the basic minimum. And living in an RV is exactly that. We have to take into account amount of items that we own, because the RV cannot be overloaded with things. It has a certain weight limit. We have to be cautious of the water we spend because we have a water tank. We have to be cautious of the energy that we use because we have just limited power and electricity. Life has a way of answering our prayers, like God has a way of answering our prayers. And this is exactly the prayer that I've been searching for. With limited connectivity to our phones, we will have more connectivity to each other. With limited data, we live in a world where we have access of everything. We have easy access and access to our phones, to our computers, to money, to food. And we're really hoping by doing this restart and this reboot that we will go down to the very basics. It almost feels like we're taking ourselves back in time, where we have very little conveniences and really learning to live with those moments. I mean, really, what a better gift to give to our children than the gift of time. Everything in society is moving at such a fast pace, and I can't imagine something more beautiful than just slowing down. I once read, "When I stop speeding through life, I find joy in each day's doings." I find joy in a life that cannot be purchased or bought, but only discovered, created, and experienced. Life is all about choices. Either we make choices that feed us, cultivate us, and nurture us, or we don't. So tell me today, what choices will you make? I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you guys want to keep going with us on this epic journey. I can't wait to open a door to a new scenery every single day and have you guys be part of that. I hope that you'll join us again next Sunday for the next video as we unravel through this adventure and this story together and see what happens.